My grandfather actually started Kurtz and Sons as a dairy in 1920, and I became interested in dairying. It's different than most farms in that it's a grazing operation. Almost all of the cattle's feed comes from grazing, and I switched over to this about 12 years ago and been improving on it ever since. And we also bottle all of our own milk and sell it direct to the public. Most of the conventional dairies feed high amounts of grain as well as byproduct feeds to push for the highest production possible. Our herd, we don't push the cows for the highest production, I just demand the highest quality production. I do feed them to maintain body condition so that they get pregnant easily, they stay healthy and live long. And I do get better reproduction and better animal health by not pushing for high production. Well, I've changed the pastures around. I've used different varieties of grasses to make more of a pasture salad for the cattle instead of having a monoculture of just one type of grass. They have a mixture of grasses and clovers, and they get to choose what they want to eat. And they're pretty good at choosing what they need. I've changed the genetics of my herd so that they're more of a grazing animal. But I switched to Jerseys several years ago, and I've been breeding the Jerseys ever since, with a few milking shorthorns. We're not burning a lot of fossil fuels to get the cows fed. Most of conventional dairying in the southeast is all about combating Mother Nature and trying to beat Mother Nature as far as the heat and the weather and everything that affects the cattle. So we're trying to go with one that works with nature, and it's a whole lot easier to work with nature. And also I changed it to change the components in the milk to make the milk be as nutrient dense as possible, meaning the healthiest type of milk that I can possibly make. And so that's really what I've gone for, and it's what my customers have asked me to do. They want me to farm a specific way, to not just because they feel good about it, that it's environmentally friendly, but it's mainly about the end result. The proof is in the pudding, and what's inside the jug is what counts. I sell some of it unpasteurized. I do pasteurized milk, and I started with pasteurized milk. And when my customers asked me for raw milk, it's illegal in the state of Florida to sell raw milk for people to drink. So I had to get a pet food license, and I have to label it as pet food. And so every jug has that on the label. And I also make a yogurt. I'm going to be making a batch of that today. The components that are in the milk, many of them get cooked out during pasteurization. And that's why a lot of people are interested in raw milk. For example, people don't even know that vitamin C is in milk because it's not in any of the milks in grocery stores. However, raw milk from grazing cattle has a lot of vitamin C in it, as well as other vitamins and enzymes, particularly enzymes that help people digest the raw milk, are left intact in the raw milk. Now, it has to be a clean product. We're not saying that pasteurization is the only way to have clean milk. You can have clean products without having to cook them to death or irradiate them or other things like that. We have just a few other ancillary products, kind of call them hold-ons, because they fit in well with the cattle operation. We have some free-range chickens that produce eggs, and I also have turkeys. And the main reason I have these birds is so I can utilize them in the pastures. They help to break up manure piles, and they eat bugs in the pastures. All of our cows volunteer to come into this parlor. They have their own spot picked out where they like to be, so they show up and come on in here. Now, these are just machines, and they don't know how to milk cows, so it still takes a person to be in here to be able to know if the cow is milked out.